Brought to you by ExpressCare Health and Skin Center. Get in, get out, get better.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, we are talking about broken bones. And once again with me is ExpressCare's Dr. Jitka Lom, who's going to answer some of our viewers' questions. All right, so our first viewer is asking, what can you do to speed up the healing process? Because I'm sure that, you know, having a cast on can be kind of
unpleasant.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So most bones will heal between 4 and 8 weeks out, depending on the size of the bone and the location and how bad the injury was. This is assuming you don't need surgery for your healing. And so keeping the bone immobilized is the most important thing to healing, because you've got two ends and you need to keep them together so they stick. If you keep wiggling, they're not going to stick, and it's going to take a lot longer. This is especially true in foot fractures, right? When people are walking on their broken toe, it takes a lot longer to heal. So that's very important. The way the bones heal is that the outer, the surface, the perimeter knits first, and then the marrow fills in from the inside. So keeping them immobilized is really important. Your nutrition is very important, making sure you're taking enough calcium, making sure you don't smoke. That's really important because you need enough oxygen to help the healing process, reducing your alcohol intake, and also making sure you get enough calcium and magnesium, which are the primary ingredients of bone.
Now, you mentioned calcium. I had a question. Now, they say when bones, after they break, when they reform, they become calcified, or they're stronger than before. Is that true?
Yeah. So it's possible that they could end up stronger or weaker than they were before, depending on how bad the injury was. Most of the time, it ends up to be exactly the same as before your injury. So it doesn't always make you stronger, but it will make you whole.
Of course, right? Now, what other factors affect bone healing?
So other diseases such as diabetes, thyroid problems, general physical activity. So while we want to keep the bones immobilized, we want your general overall health to be quite good.
Okay, now you mentioned other factors like diseases, but let's say you haven't broken a bone. Do diseases affect the strength of bones?
Yes, they do.
Make them weaker or more easily broken?
Yes, absolutely. So the ones that I can mention for you are thyroid disease. Hyperthyroidism definitely thins your bones. Of course, if you have a malignancy, cancer, that can thin your bones. Osteoporosis comes along with aging, that can make you weaker. And a common one that people don't know about there's two. One is alcoholism, definitely thins your bones and makes you more likely to break your bones. And the other is obesity, because tends to be that obese people tend to not be as active. They don't put as much stress on their own bones when they're walking around and so on, and so their bones can tend to be a little bit weaker. So it's actually easier for obese people sometimes to break their bones also.
Now our next viewer is asking, what's the difference between cast and splint?
So cast is circumferential. It means it goes all the way around, let's say your arm or your leg, and basically it can't expand. It's basically there till you heal. At the beginning, when you first break a bone, they'll put on a splint. A splint is basically something that'll keep you steady without wiggling, but it has room for you to swell. Because at the beginning, when you break your bone, for the first week or two, you're very, very swollen in that area. So if you put it on a cast, it's going to get too tight and cut off your circulation. You'll be in trouble. So we put a splint on at least for the first week, maybe 10 days, then you get a cast. And as you go through that healing process, up to 8 weeks, your cast will need to get changed because your muscles are not being used. They thin, they get weaker. Now your cast is loose. You need a tighter cast. So every couple of weeks, you'll get a fresh cast.
All right. Now, our next viewer is asking, speaking of cast, can you walk on your cast?
Some casts are made for walking. They're called a walking cast, and they usually have a little shoe on the bottom so that, and you'll be told you can walk on this. At the beginning, usually with, let's say, ankle fractures or broken legs, you're not allowed to walk on that because, again, when you walk on that, you're moving the bones out of place. There's going to be some vibration, some friction, and you're going to not heal as well. So at the beginning, you can't walk on it. After a while, you can start to put a little bit of pressure, and your doctor will tell you when it's time the bones are starting to knit nicely, and you can start putting a little bit of pressure on your walking cast.
Okay.
Makes it easier.
All right. Now our last viewer is asking, what is the best way to use crutches and slings?
So both of those tools are there to help you be able to be mobile, but still keep your broken bone immobilized. So the crutches are there so that you can get around. You're wearing your cast, but you're not putting your foot down. So you shouldn't be swinging your cast around. You see that sometimes when kids are walking, they're swinging their cast. So you don't want to do that. It's just to help you get from point A to point B safely. And so oftentimes when people start using crutches, they'll start to get shoulder pain, arm pain, upper body pain. Again, so you need to learn how to use your crutches safely, and you can be shown how to do that so that you also don't fall and break something else. Yeah. And as far as slings, they're to be used at nighttime to keep it close to you, your arm, so that, again, you don't roll over, hurt yourself, or if you're walking around during the day, keeping it close to your body.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr.
You're welcome.
All right. So that's going to do it for us tonight. Please join us next week when we discuss noise-induced hearing loss. If you have a question, email us at healthyliving@kuam.com. When we come back, we'll tell you about an upcoming 5K, 2K event.